Hi, everyone. Welcome to the moon forecast for the new moon in Taurus for May 2021. I'm Kendall Shahan with the Bohemian Tarot Girl. This is my co-host, Amy, with Wise Moon Energy. Amy, do you want to give a little shout out for yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Amy Amonette, and I'm an intuitive energy coach, and I also lead women's moon circles, and I've been doing that for a while now. So, um, yeah, I've started paying attention to the cycles of the moon, and so we like to get together and just kind of talk about what to expect with the upcoming moon and how you can align with it.
Before we get started, please make sure to go ahead and like us on YouTube and make sure that you subscribe to our channel as well. We'd really appreciate that. And then you'll never miss out on an episode with us. If you're interested in a reading, an intuitive reading from Amy or a tarot reading from myself, please follow the link below. You'll have to create an account. We use a computer program called Teachable, and you'll have to create an account with them, but then you'll be able to see and access all of our offerings. We do have some courses coming up, and that will be out later in the month. All right, Amy, let's talk about this new moon in Taurus and all of this energy.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm feeling good about it. That's one thing.
Yeah. There's I mean, with the last full moon we had was such a in Scorpio was a big one, a big energetic kind of mirror for a lot of
Yes.
people. And so this new moon coming in is going to be a lot lighter. I mean, it's just as potent. We've had so much potent energy and potent moons, but the energy is going to be a lot more supportive and easier to navigate, hopefully, than the last full moon. And that's kind of like new moons are kind of like that anyway. New moons are about creating, or as full moons are about, releasing or processing. So this is going to be some really welcome energy. And I'm super grateful for it because we've kind of alluded to the fact that we have another big super moon coming up at the end of May, and it's also a full lunar eclipse. And those are those are portals.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's like there's a beginning and an end. And where you were at the beginning of an eclipse is not where you're going to end up by the time it's over. So right now, like, this is very like try and like hold on and like hug this energy right now, because we're in for like a big ride. Like, put on your seatbelt.
Just embrace that ride, though.
Yeah.
So this moon is at 23 degrees to Taurus. And we were talking about this briefly earlier about using our intuition and really dreaming about what we really want. Can you tell us what you were feeling for the moon?
Yeah, so new moon is happening May 11th. And it's in Taurus. And the new moon happens when the sun and the moon are at this exact same space in the sky. And it just kind of gives this like burst of fresh energy. And Taurus is a very earthy, it's an earth sign. It's ruled by Venus. It's a very grounded, very sensual, very sturdy, solid energy to work with. And we've, haven't been in an earth sign in a while, since Capricorn.
Yeah.
So this is the first real solid earth energy that we've had this year. So, which is kind of great. And we've gone through all of these moons, and if you've been following us, we've talked like, start daydreaming again. Like, this is the time to start daydreaming with Pisces. And then with Aries, it was like, now this is the time to start, acting on some of those dreams. And now we're in Taurus season, and Taurus is the builder. And it's like, it comes in and it gives you the opportunity to like create this really solid foundation to build the next part of your life and have it be substantial and long lasting energy. And it's really supported right now by some of the other planets, which is nice. Like it's really going to give that solid burst of, you know, just going to lay the groundwork here for whatever your this transformation process that's been happening for everybody.
I like it.
So yeah, it's really great. This moon, we talked about some of the other planets that are supporting it. So the sun and the moon are both trining Pluto. And we talked a little bit about Pluto last time, because it was squaring everything, but now it's trining. Pluto has gone retrograde and it's kind of backed its way into Capricorn a little bit right now. So it's in a fellow Earth sign, which is a positive energy flow. And it's really supporting whatever you start building now is going to have this super long lasting effect. So it's really good to pay attention to what it is you've been wanting to create and wanting to bring into your life, and maybe some of these dreams that you've had, like you're able to give it some of that more solid earthiness right at this moment. And it's, super like I can't like it's probably the best energy you could have. Yeah. So the other really positive aspect that we have happening with the sun and the moon being in Taurus is that they are both sextiling Pisces, or Neptune, sorry, Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is like the planet of spirituality and intuition and dreaming. And so we have this extra boost kind of from the universe giving positive support. So whatever you are laying the foundation for and transforming in your life right now is also hugely supported by spirit, and in for the whole evolution of your soul growth and process. And it kind of like reminded me of, sometimes we can't see where we get from, there hasn't been a lot of forward vision in the last couple of months. Like we've been kind of getting bits and pieces and ideas and, maybe we should do this or maybe we shouldn't. And the energy right now is kind of like you don't necessarily have to worry about that because whatever it is that you're moving towards is fully meant for you and you're going to receive it, because it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, yeah, it kind of is a little easier to lay into because we do have some planets that have recently moved into Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Venus and Mercury, and there are closer planets, and they're only in those signs for a short amount of time.
Yeah, this is like
Gemini can get a little caught in their head. It's a very, mentally stimulating sign, and they're having ideas flying back and forth, and they might change their mind a lot, and they may kind of over analyze some things or want the details about things. But I think that with this moon, they're actually having those planets in Gemini kind of coming in to support this is going to maybe add a little more clarity and
yeah.
maybe some key aha moments to what, maybe a little piece of the puzzle might appear to how you're going to build or transform. But it's also you don't necessarily need to sweat the details or try to think, well, is this possible, or is this, how am I going to do this, because all of those things are going to fall into place at the right timing.
Mm-hmm. And Gemini does like to just have fun, so remember that when you're dreaming and thinking.
Yep.
Invite the funness in.
That's right.
So something that, for me, that was really key when I looked at, what was happening around the new moon was that uh, in 22 degrees, Lilith was conjunct. And I know we, kind of talked about this briefly last time, but for me, what really came up, it was you have Lilith, who is like, she's the goat in religion, right? Not part of the sheep following herd. And just embracing that spirit and making sure that you, as you're going through all of this change and you're going through all of this dreaming, to really check in with yourself and to make sure that you're doing something because you want to do it versus just going along with the crowd. And so really everything you do, you should be self checking with yourself. And that's, I use tarot for that. If you're not really confident in following your intuition and self guidance, go ahead and pull a tarot card and really see what that means to you. I'd really recommend, with everything that you do and choices that you make, is that you really check in with yourself and make sure you're not just following along. You should probably be a little more like Lilith and
Yeah,
be a strong woman.
because your journey is unique to you. And
Yeah.
I think so much of our life, we're kind of taught to conform, or that we should do certain things or act a certain way. And when it all comes down to it, is that, and maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I don't really care as much.
Exactly.
But what it all comes down to is that you have your own unique destiny and unique path. And a lot of it is just stripping away all of the expectations and rules that you thought you had to follow in order to connect with yourself. And we've talked about that before. I mean, it's going to feel like there's a feeling of knowing and kind of peace and comfort that comes when you're aligned with your true path.
Yeah.
Um, so it is important, especially when you're building something that's going to be concrete and solid. Like, um, one of the things that I, thought about Taurus is like, when I was thinking about this moon, is that parable of, and maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but like there's a, parable about someone who builds a house on the sand and then someone who builds a house on the rock. And the one on the sand, it's like the wind comes and the waves come and it like kind of washes it all away because it was built hastily. And for some reason, that kind of reminds me of the Aries energy and maybe some of the other, but it's kind of like, hurry, let's build this, beach hut so we can have the party and enjoy it. But
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily last. Whereas Taurus is like, it may take them a lot longer to create something, um, but it's going to be on a really solid foundation. And not only that, but this house that they build is going to have the finest materials, super expensive marble, fancy teak wood,
Oh, I like that.
fine linens, like big windows. And I mean, whatever you think of being, of really quality substance. And not only is it going to be built in a manner that it's going to stand the test of time, but it's going to feel like home, because a lot of Taurus is very much about that sensuality and that feeling that comes with, being ruled by Venus. I mean, it's that love energy, that love feeling and that comfort feeling, and all of those good feelings that we're always searching for. And it's going to feel like home to you when you walk into this house, because not only is it of the finest materials, but it's also built with all of your personal preferences and things that it's made for you in particular. And so it's like, this is not, let's hastily put something together, but let's really put some thought into, what we want.
I like that.
And this is the energy to start bringing it.
Well, and with when you're talking about putting thought into it, that brings up another kind of point to what's going on in this change. We're going to have the eclipse coming up here with the full moon, and that is actually the beginning of a new cycle. And so this prior cycle, if you look back at, the things that happened during the lunar eclipse in November, at the end of November, and that's when you found changes in your finance, and maybe you realize there were some insecurities about yourself. Really, revisit some of these past energies that happened during these eclipse time, and honor those, and notice the changes that you've come into. And as you're setting your intentions, look at all those pieces and just know that it's part of that cycle closing out.
So yeah, and we have cycles within cycles with these eclipses and everything. And we are like kind of looking back and noticing. And I think, even with like a lot of like we're closing something out, or this is like the start of heading towards that next eclipse, which is
Yeah.
opening up a new cycle. But we also had the cycle of the full moon that we had in November, or in Scorpio, which was just a couple of weeks ago. And there's a 2-week cycle that happens with that. And I think that a lot of people had a lot of things brought up in that
Mhm.
last full moon. And it's always good to kind of reflect back on that before you get ready to set intentions for the new moon, especially with this one. I feel that it was really illuminating some important things, for people that are pertinent to where we're going with this. And so, just keep that in mind because I'm going to come back to it. But the new moons, we always set our intentions, because the moon is, it's new in the sky and it's going to start growing, and as it grows our intentions grow, and that can be a 2-week energy, it can be a 1-month energy from new moon to new moon, or it can be a 1-year energy. So we could be looking at what's going to transpire from this new moon in Taurus to new moon in Taurus a year later, and a
Mhm.
lot can happen in a year. um and so when we're setting intentions, we're kind of creating this conversation with the universe, and we are really, declaring and putting thought and a feeling behind what it is we'd like to bring into our life, or what we'd like our life to look like. Um, and just kind of giving that clarity to like, we're not flying blind anymore, like
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll just take what I can get. Like, it's like, no, I'm really creating this vibration of attracting something to me. And I think a lot of times when we set intentions, we may have these ideas in our heads of like, oh, someone could put, I want a certain job, or I want the freedom to travel, or I want a certain relationship. And those are great. Like, it's good to be specific and it's good to ask for the things that you want. But I think sometimes we get so caught up into asking for particular things that we forget that what we're really trying to attract is the feeling that we think we'll achieve by having those things. And, Taurus being ruled by Venus, it's all about the feeling.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a reason that's the love planet. Um, you are looking for a particular feeling. Um, and so I, there are sometimes that when we are creating this conversation with the universe, not only are you asking for something, but you have to find a way to be able to receive it when it comes. And I think a lot of people get in their own way. And
Sure.
I think that this last full moon in particular was kind of holding up a mirror and showing you ways in which you might be sabotaging your ability to receive. And
I
that can show up
100%
in lots
agree
of
with that.
ways. It can show up in lots of ways. It can show up in, like, maybe you're experiencing imposter syndrome, or maybe you are battling your own self-worth. Maybe you are holding on to these self-limiting beliefs or ideas of having to do everything yourself and
Mhm.
being super independent. Um, there are lots of ways that this can show up for you. It could just be that you feel like everything always works against you, and you're holding on to that idea in your head that everything always works against you, and it's not really creating space for something to work for
Work.
you.
Mhm.
Um, and so for this full moon, I want you to keep in mind like what is for you will not pass you by. Like, I think that's kind of the theme of all of the energy that's coming in is trying to be like, you are creating something and something is transforming within your life and within yourself because it's meant for you. You have to allow that. There's, you have to allow that to happen. I mean, you know, magic can happen at any time and situations can change, but if you're resistant or not allowing it, I mean, there's only so much that the universe can do. And so part of that, I think, comes with recognizing what that feeling is that you're searching for. Because if you've never really allowed yourself to experience that or sit in that positive feeling, you're not going to know what it is when it shows up. Um, and so we always do like, we set our intentions for the full moon, and please do that because I think it's super important to be consistent with setting intentions and having that conversation. And sometimes we do guided meditations, and sometimes we have little fun ritual activities that we do. Sometimes we have more serious, like introspective type work. I think when I was sitting down trying to figure out how to best utilize this moon, what came up for me was to really harness that Taurus, kind of sensual, luxurious energy and do something for yourself that makes you just feel really, really good. Like you could go get a 90-minute massage somewhere and just really
Ooh.
feel pampered for the day, like allow yourself. Or you could go out to a really, really nice, fancy restaurant and have a 5-course meal and just sit and enjoy every bite, or order the, you know, most extravagant dessert on the menu, or all three, like my sister and I did recently for my birthday. We just got 3 desserts and enjoyed every bit of it. Um, or connect with somebody who you haven't talked to in a long time and really enjoy their presence, and sit in that feeling of what that feels like for you, that good, beautiful, receptive energy feeling. Or go in nature. Like, Taurus is an earth sign and there's so much beautiful nature out, especially this time of year. Go watch a sunset or go walk on the beach, or something that just gives you that feeling of everything being good in that present moment.
Mhm. I love that.
That's your homework.
Feel your feelings.
Yes.
Well, I drew a card for the energy of this new moon, and I got the Knight of Pentacles.
Ooh.
I know. I thought this was actually perfect because one, Pentacles in Taurus, you know,
Mhm.
the very earth energy that it has, but also, night cards are after the page card, and the page card is dreamy, and you're learning, and kind of like you're just in that like little tiny bit of building. And then here you have the night card, and the night is about like that forward momentum, and moving forward. And it's just like feeling, I feel like change is like really like coming soon. That's what I keep getting when I think about this card. Change is coming
Mhm.
soon. Don't be impatient, and just keep moving forward with that.
Perfect.
That's what I got.
I like it.
Sorry, it took me a second there.
That's okay.
um, well, thank you everyone for joining us. Really appreciate you having having you join us here on our YouTube channel, and joining us for this moon forecast. Make sure once again to subscribe or and like us. And also, if you want a reading, the link is in our bio. Thanks again and have a great new moon.
Thank you.